What is up, everybody? So welcome to this first YouTube video. I wanted to really just give you guys an idea, and you specifically watching this, an idea of who I am, where I've been, just me in a nutshell, right? There's gonna be nothing fancy on this video. Just really also, I wanna give you guys an understanding of what to expect, right? I made the decision about 17 years ago to completely go all in on my life and in terms of my health and fitness and the trajectory of my overall health, right? This comes from a background of me getting bullied, of me feeling just not confident, not secure in myself, teased a lot in high school, and it was my outlet, so to speak. And it's brought me to where I am today. So I grew up, so let's just run through this story. So I grew up in a small town in Ohio called St. Clairsville. I was never the most in shape kid. I was pretty out of shape when it came to just grade school, going through 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And I got a lot of flack for it. As kids, we don't really know any better, and kids can be fucking cruel when it comes to bullying and teasing. And I remember many a days where I would get off the bus and I would be dreading getting off at the bus stop because I had 2 or 3 bullies that would consistently just make fun of me, take my book bag off, throw it on the ground. And honestly, they were egging me on to fight a lot of the time, and even pitting myself and other friends of mine against each other oftentimes. As I evolved into high school, I was into sports, all that good stuff, and weightlifting and working out was an outlet. I became very interested in it, but it was never until my senior year where it became very prevalent. Even in my freshman year and sophomore year in high school, those years, I remember the big thing for athletes and athletics in those years, it was very cool to be benching a plate on each side. So a 45 and a 45 on each side, right? I looked up to the guys that could do that. Even in my freshman year, I don't think I was able to max rep 135 for 1 rep, right? And that really frustrated me. That really irritated me. And it gave me fuel to my fire to be able to continue to push up. One thing that I've always felt that I've had internally is just a fire to work hard and be better, right? No matter how long it took, I knew that if I worked hard enough that I could actually get from A to B, no matter how long it took, okay? Forward to my junior and senior year, I was one of the only players as a junior to start on our varsity team, just because our varsity was stacked, all seniors except for me, right? I earned my way by putting forth effort and everything like that, okay? I played baseball as well, but in high school, but like moving after high school, right? High school is over now. So then I went to play college baseball in Erie, Pennsylvania at a school called Mercyhurst College. Now, one thing that I was there, college is way different. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you just have to understand college athletics are much different than high school athletics, right? In terms of literally a job once it gets to that point. You know, or going to practice, like it's just day in, day out. You don't have time for much else. And I played baseball for the first 2 years, and I was done with sports in general. So things happened with baseball to where I was just in my head a lot, and it was better for me to let go of that time, right? At the same time, freshman, sophomore year of college, I really started to get into weightlifting. I saw there was a contest on bodybuilding.com, which you may be familiar with, and I went for it, right? I put in my submission for bodybuilding.com athlete of the week or teen of the week. I think I was like years old at the time, so close enough to still a teenager. And I got it, right? I won that, and seeing myself just submit my photos work diligently hard in the gym, start to also get traction from other females in college, made a massive difference to me, because this is coming from the chubby fat kid or chubby kid that didn't have a lot of confidence, got beat up at the bus stop, and I made that shift, right? That at that point, that's where I really like to be like, wow, if I apply, and it wasn't in my head like I'm speaking it now, but it came apparent just subconsciously to me that if I make these decisions, if I make these choices, if I make these decisions, like my life be like, much better is life going to be from an energy standpoint, from a focus standpoint, from attracting women standpoint at that point in my life, right? Now, something happened within that time frame of college that also, pushed me not so much to pursue things from a health and fitness side of things, but it did make me dramatically aware of how important health and fitness is. So I remember it like it was yesterday. Got a call from, I believe at the time it was from my sister. It was my junior year in college, and she called, my ring, I answer, and my sister says, "Dave, great news. Mom is in remission," right? John Hopkins, she actually got diagnosed with breast cancer in around 2001, 2002, which is right around the time when I was like a freshman in college. And when sister called me and told me that, it was the biggest sigh of relief, because my family lived in Ohio at the time and I was in Pennsylvania. So it was about 3.5 hours away. So I really wasn't there to witness like what was going on with my mom and everything like that. And I know just from a protective mother standpoint, she was always trying to like keep things from me, right? And because I'm the youngest in the family, right? So when I tell this story, I'm just gonna set this phone down here. When I tell this story, it's not the most easy story to tell, right? So I said, great, to my sister. I said, this is fantastic news, amazing. Life continues to go on another few weeks. I get another call about 2 weeks later from my sister again. And she tells me, Johns Hopkins has made a mistake, all right? They made a mistake and mistaked her results with somebody else. Sorry. Her results were somebody else's, right? So that hit a ton of bricks. And come to find out, I think I found out about a month or two later that it was actually like more aggressive. It turned into stage 4, right? And my mom was a nurse. She was well aware of what was going on with her own body. She wasn't a dummy. She didn't live necessarily a bad lifestyle, but looking back, I know things that could have prevented, that could have helped her, right? So I tell you this because, number one, if you do have a mom right now, please, like, go call her. If you have at least one parent, go call them, tell them you love them. But my point of that story is like, that was a shifting point in my life where I realized, wow, like putting health at the very, very top of your list and like getting the work, getting tests done to some extent is literally the best thing you could do for yourself. Because when we're deathbed, like what else matter at the end of the day, right? So went through college, got a job. So I was into the United States Secret Service in 2005, about 2006. I had to go through a year of background investigation. So I worked for my dad back at home, just running the cash register at his local convenience store. And I did that, and I went to the Secret Service. Finally, they gave me a call. They said, cool, like I had to go through 6 months of training, 3 months down in FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia, and then 3 months in Beltsville, Maryland, which is where the Secret Service trains, right? I was in the uniform division. So uniform division, there's agent. Both really do the same thing. The only uniform is like starting and then you progress to agent. The only difference is agents wear suits all the time. Uniform, we're protecting like the vice president or White House, foreign embassies in and around Washington, D.C. So I was actually assigned to the vice president's entire time. Now, I worked for this guy, right? So I don't know if you can see it well or not, but this is me when I was like I was about 250 pounds here, right? And that's my dad. That's Lynn and Dick Cheney, right? So when I was working for them, I was still very into my lifting, and I actually even started doing some personal coaching just because I was so involved in developing myself. And at the time for myself, it was all about like, let's see how big I can get and all those things. And at the time, I had a girl that I met in college, and it was like really my first ever girlfriend. Fell in love with her. We were together for about 3.5 years. During that 3.5 year period, we just started to like we had some rocky moments as all relationships do, but towards the end, I was just very into like self-development and improving my physique and health and doing all these things, whereas she really didn't work out much, right? She was more like, hey, she was more into like travel and drink wine and those, which is, again, your values are your values, right? However, I was enough to just realize like, hey, I've been with this girl for 3.5 years. I really haven't seen what else is out there in a sense. And I made the decision another time when I will not, this has massively shaped the trajectory of my life where I'm at now, is made the decision. I called her when I was out on post. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I was sitting out on post at the vice president's residence, and I called Kelly. And I said, hey, we were already engaged. I said, hey, I don't think it's a good idea for us to go through with this at this moment right now. I know this is not what you wanted to hear. I know this is what your parents are not going to want to hear. I think it's like just in the best interest of what we should do now. I'm happy to talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, I just don't know if it's the right thing to do. Want something like that. One of the hardest things that I've had to do in my life, but I knew after talking with my dad, he's like, you got the balls. Like, you got balls to say that. A lot of people wouldn't. They would just literally right. And it's like any decision you make in your life, like you have to be self-aware of what is on. Like that was a pivotal moment for me. And needless to say, we broke it off. Haven't talked to her in God knows how long. That was on 2008, right? I was in the Secret Service for about 4 years, from 2006 to 2010. And once I broke that off, I remember I was 255, 260 pounds of that. It was just in like a phase of, let's see how much muscle I can gain. I would carry my food out on post. I was very structured, very disciplined with it all that stuff. And an opening came up for the emergency response team in the Secret Service. And I applied for it because it's like a stepping stone from being just uniform in a uniform, like a police officer type uniform with the Secret Service. You're now going into an elite unit that carries better guns, like does more cool shit, all that stuff. So applied for the emergency response team, got the go ahead to that. One of the pivotal moments when starting to train for was I started to get more I started to take my cardiovascular health more seriously and just get more better at running, right? But with this ERT, emergency response, you have to wear like a 40-pound vest with all your gear, all that. So it's you're very tactical. And I remember hopping on a tray at Lifetime Fitness, put the vest on, started to run. I could hardly run a mile without like actually like gasping for air. And that was one of the problems too, that after this breakup, just after that whole thing, the decision, I was like, yeah, I looked in the mirror, I was like, I am in the healthiest spot, even though I portrayed this like, eat stuff. I was probably at, I would say maybe closer to 20% body fat in my most energetic self. I'll tell you that. Okay. So I made the decision to go all in on health and myself at that point. And I cut down from 255 to 260 down to 205. Okay. That was a pivotal moment for me. And then from there, the rest is history really. Like I did a bodybuilding show after that, all self-study, I didn't train much legs at the time. You learn as you go, right? And I was like, wow, like this is what I can accomplish. It was like all the stuff from college led me to, all the stuff from that moment led me to now. I left the Secret Service, went into a desk job as a counterterrorism intelligence analyst. Didn't resonate with that whatsoever. Did that for 4 years. actually the universe pushed me out of that position. And during that whole 4-year period, I was studying personal training. I was doing all of these things because in the back of my head, I knew that I wasn't meant to do like just sit around and sit behind a desk and all that stuff. I was meant to help people. I was meant to help people like lives. I was meant to help at this point in my life, help fathers and guys my age that are really looking to level up and actually, pass these habits and these things on to their kids and actually have a greater generation of, adults eventually. So, and it starts, it starts with you actually, that I got pushed out. I got fired from that intelligence analyst job. I went into personal training, had 0 clients. A friend of mine was like, hey, why don't you come to my gym, start training some clients? And I started taking clients. I created my LLC. I did all that. I started really getting in the trenches. And from there, it was like education, reinvest back in my business, education, reinvest, kept growing, and I kept getting clients, right? Eventually to where the in-person ended up opening a gym just because that was the evolution. I opened a gym for 4 years, very successful, 200 plus clients, all that stuff. Left the gym. That was a whole big fucking situation too. I got evicted because my tenant was it was an interesting situation to say the least. Not to go back into that space because of a number of reasons. Also, the energy that took from me, that was a lot from just dealing with a lot of that stuff. But also, I knew at that time in my life, my wife and I, we wanted to have kids. We were looking to potentially move, which we are where we are now in Texas, from Virginia. I knew that I needed to move on, right? And I knew from doing this long, learning from so many people, I could also help more people just being online rather than stuck in one place, right? I'm 41 now, had our first kid when I was 39. I now have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old at this current time, this current day of April 28th. Yeah, April 28th, Monday. My goal for you watching this is just to give some context. I'm literally a regular guy, I've done all the things. The world that we live in now, when it comes to, yes, we have a ton of information, but it's a lot of conflicting information. We have a lot of things that threaten our children, weird stuff. If you can resonate with this, like on any level, then you're my type of person. We moved from Virginia, Texas, and Virginia, there were some schools that had books, like sexual books for kids. Like it's just not good, right? Not good. My belief is that children is up to us. How we do that through health, fitness, actually understanding of like how you go from A to B. That's what my core male does, right? Very good at why of things, why they're doing it. And again, I stand on the shoulder of giants. I have had a coach for the last 10 to 15 years. I will always believe like a coach needs coaching too, right? A lot of people's biggest issues when it comes to getting to where they want to get to with anything in life, but in particularly health and fitness and getting to a physique and health and body that is fully capable, energetic, and you are able to provide and protect those around you. A lot of people have limiting beliefs, fear, uncertainty, doubt, maybe because you've done things in the past that haven't worked. But when we really look at that, when things haven't worked in the past, because I've done mentorships and things like that where I haven't fully applied myself. So when we really look inside, right, together, when you ask yourself, who is responsible for actually getting you from A to B, right? Who is in control of everything we do moving forward from this point on? If you answered me, you're right. So you have to ask yourself, that version of you that is wanting to get healthier, get a better body, get a better physique, you have to ask yourself, what would that 2.0 version of myself actually do? What would the decision that they make? Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of you have been maybe struggling with getting to that place that you say you want to get to for a number of years. So what is the decision that you actually finally and let go of? What are the beliefs that you need to let go of to finally actually get there? I'll tell you right now, if somebody gives me at least 6 to 12 months to completely go all in on themselves, like truly, and I don't guarantee anything because, you know, you can't guarantee me that you're actually going to put in the work way to actually truly show me that before actually taking action. It's like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you see 5 people that are in incredible shape and then 100 that aren't. Is it the gym's fault that those 100 people aren't in shape? No. Whose is it? It's yours, right? So if you do give yourself 6 to 12 months, I would say giving yourself 1 year of dedicated focus to create strong, healthy habits that are also going to bleed into every other area of your life, that's really all it takes. I am not interested in working with somebody that just wants short, quick, short-term results only to set themselves up for a long-term sabotage. I just will not work with somebody like that. But if you are looking for longevity, sustainability, actually being that version of yourself that's capable of taking care of your kids if you have them, to be present with the ones you love just because you have more energy and you have more zest for life and you know exactly how to do things on an everyday basis. You're set up for the rest of your life. That's who I'm interested in working with. Now, the choice is up to you, okay? Now, what to expect from this channel, just because I want to provide you guys with a lot of value, and I want you guys to put in your comments as well if you do have any things you want to see from a content standpoint, anything you're interested in talking about, all that stuff. I'm always open, okay? I'm always open to talk about anything. So a few things that you can expect: training content that'll help you guys with your training, overall educational content, whether it comes to nutrition, supplementation, gut health, things that are going to massively benefit you in the long run. And also just talks like this, but also stuff so you can get an idea of what my day in the life is, and just some different motivational vlog type, raw, real content, okay? So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you, and really look forward to hearing from you, and have a great rest of your day. See you guys.